Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace and today I wanted to talk, well first of all, first thing, it's fucking freezing in New York today. It's like a high of 37 or 38, a balmy 38. And I'm really cold in my room right now. Like, I'm sitting on my puffer jacket that I got at Burlington, my favorite place. I've been thinking a bit about dating. So I went on a date last night. I know I said in a recent video that I was kind of feeling like not in the mood for a relationship or whatever, but that was a few weeks ago. I was younger. I didn't know what I know now. Anyway, I went on a date last night and I did something that I used to do, which is a couple years ago, I would challenge myself when I went on a first date to do something that puts me out of my comfort zone. So I would not wear makeup, or I would wear like a tank top without a bra or whatever, not be insecure about my boobs, whatever. Or otherwise find like some way to make it a challenging experience in a way that would ultimately get me further along in like accepting myself. And I went on a date last night and I just didn't wear any makeup because I'm out of makeup wipes, so I haven't been able to for the last few days, which has been honestly a little bit difficult. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I want someone to like run into me, because what if I don't look my best, whatever. I'm not perfect. I still struggle with some of this stuff. But then I was like, this is actually such a good opportunity to like meet someone and be completely yourself. And I was listening to a podcast called Mary's Cup of Tea. I really like her podcast and her Instagram. Her name is Mary Jelkovsky, and she does a really good podcast. And she was mentioning this, that like when she went on her first date with her now husband, but when they were first starting dating, she didn't wear any makeup. She didn't like do anything special, because I feel like it's so easy to want to show up as your best self, and sometimes the way we do that is by doing what we think will make us look our best, or maybe we're acting a certain way that we think will attract another person, when really the best thing you can do for yourself and for the other person is just be completely yourself. But that's so hard when you struggle with your self-image or your body image, or that kind of thing. So I had a couple thoughts that I wanted to share on that. And I think when you're going on dates or seeing someone new, it's so important to honor what you truly want. And that can be as simple as like ordering what you want instead of getting a salad because that's what you feel like you should do. But there's so many expectations that we can put on ourselves, and that other people put on us, and that society puts on us, for what dating should look like. And there are so many times where I felt like pressured either by myself or by the other person to kiss or have sex or something, because that's what the expectations seem to be, and so you'll fulfill that role even if it's not necessarily what feels good to you. Or I have kept talking to someone that I didn't really like because I wanted them to like me, which I think is another thing that it's so easy to fall into the trap of wanting to be liked so much that you don't even think about if you like the other person. And then there have been times where I like compromised my own preferences because of what the other person wants, like being in a non-monogamous little relationship thing, even though that's something that really doesn't work for me and I get very jealous. So there are different ways that we can like betray ourselves in relationships, all in pursuit of someone else's acceptance. And that's a problem because we're putting someone else's perception of us above our own perception of ourselves. And that's where things can get really messy, and ultimately you're doing more harm than good to yourself and sometimes the other person. And it's only at age 22 now that I have like finally started to let go of some of these rules and expectations. And yes, I did like the challenges with like doing no makeup, whatever, years ago, but I feel like I still really struggled with focusing on wanting to be desired than if I desired the other person, or caring so much because I put someone on a pedestal. And the thing about pedestals is that you put them up there, you can take them back down. Like, you have that power, and it's very easy to forget that. And especially when you like someone, like who you are when you like somebody and the things that you will do or say or believe about yourself when you like somebody can be night and day to who you actually are. And I think it's so common for people to kind of lose sight of their own values and what they're really looking for in dating. So these are just some things that I've been thinking about, and some ideas that might resonate with some people and could maybe serve as a guide to other people, so that you don't make the same mistakes that I've made. And I definitely do still struggle to like speak up sometimes, but I've grown a lot in the sense that if I'm not feeling it with someone, I'm not gonna keep going on dates with them because I feel like I should. And I might still struggle to like speak up for myself in some way. Like if something is moving too fast and I want it to slow down, but I don't know how to voice that, like I might just go with it because it's, sometimes we tell ourselves that it's easier to avoid any sort of conflict or confrontation. But when we do that, we're again betraying ourselves by doing something that goes against what we truly need and want in that moment. And I think another way that I've grown in dating is I've realized how, first of all, slowly, and second of all, how non-linearly love and dating goes. Because I used to think like I would go on a first date with somebody and then be thinking about our future, like could I see myself marrying this person, whatever. And I'm not dating for marriage right now, but it's so interesting how like I would immediately future trip and be like, well, I don't know what we're gonna do because this person's graduating next year and they're moving away. Whole time it's like September, you know what I mean? Like it's something that is so hard for me to not do, but I feel like I've finally gotten better at it. And I feel like I definitely used to, like, because I mentioned earlier, I can't do non-monogamy. Like I can't do it. I've tried to convince myself I can do it. I've tried to convince myself I can do casual sex and hookup culture. I've tried to convince myself I can be with men. I've tried to convince myself, like all these things that you kind of try to put yourself in a box because you're told that that's the box people like you fit in, you know what I mean? Like being in college, like people would be like, it's time to play the field, like you should like get with as many people as you can, and be talking to a whole roster or whatever, and you're like, okay, if that's what everyone's doing, I'll do it. And even if it makes you feel bad. And I think a way we can look out for ourselves and really practice self-love and self-preservation in a way is by following what we truly want and what rings true to us and our true values, not our values being skewed by our want to be accepted by another person, but our own values. I think that's a way that we can really be kind to ourselves and look out for ourselves in a way that's really important, I think. But even while I used to like think very ahead and like want to be exclusive as soon as possible, I've realized that like when you're dating, like it's very normal for stuff to go slower. I feel like our generation feels like things are supposed to move so fast, and I don't know if it's just because like my high school relationships were like summer camp relationships where you only have a few weeks together, so like things have to move really fast. And then you're saying like I love you after like 2 weeks at the end of the summer or whatever. And I don't know if it's that or the feeling of like wanting to be in a relationship. And here's the deal. I remember talking to a friend my freshman year and her saying I'd rather be in a bad relationship than no relationship at all. And I think this kind of represents a larger issue, which is that sometimes we'll be in a relationship not because we truly want it, but because we like the idea of being like having people know that someone else wants us, you know what I mean? Like there have been times where I'm like, no, I don't want a relationship, but that's okay because I know I could have one if I wanted it. Like I know I could, you know, like yeah, I know I have like 4 Hinge matches right now or whatever, and then but there's something kind of validating about being in a relationship, especially when you're young and you're like, oh my god, like I'm like this old and I haven't had a relationship yet, I should really try to like settle down with the first person I can get with. Or like we can rush ourselves into things because we like the idea of being in a relationship or the idea of some like the proof that we are able to be loved and desired, which can sometimes push us into relationships with the wrong people because we're doing it for the wrong reasons. And it's so important to think about, like, do you truly like the person and really like not just the idea of them, not just who you think they could be, not just who you imagine them to be, but who they are, because what people show you is what they are. And you can have all these ideas like, oh my god, like it would be so amazing if we went on this like romantic trip and he would be so sweet or whatever. Whole time he's talking to like 8 girls and doesn't even like treat you as a person. And if you're focusing more on if someone likes you than if you like them, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, but like you might be dating for the wrong reasons. Like you might have low self-esteem and this is sort of validating to combat that, and that feels good, and so that's why you're with somebody even though they might not be actually a good fit for you. You might not actually like them. They might be kind of an asshole and like do problematic things. Like there are so many girls who are, like, have a boyfriend who's like homophobic or transphobic or racist or whatever, and people just kind of like brush it under the rug because it's their boyfriend. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But when you get into dating for the wrong reasons, if you're trying to prove to yourself or others that you can be in a relationship or that someone can want you, you're setting yourself up for an unhappy relationship and reinforcing ideas about yourself that you're gonna have to unpack later. Because if you don't deal with things when they come up, a lot of the times it's gonna get dormant, and then you're gonna have to deal with it later when it all blows up. You know what I mean? So yeah, last night I didn't wear any makeup just because I don't have any makeup wipes. And yes, I definitely like felt ugly, but I think I also at the same time was like, do I want to be with someone if they don't like me when I don't have makeup on, or like if how they see me changes just because I don't look like a model or whatever, you know, like, or because I'm a little bloated right now or whatever it is. But I think it can be really hard to date, especially when you're young, and figure it all out and do it in an emotionally mature way, and a way that honors your true self. So those are just some things I've been thinking about. I hope this video resonates with some of you or is helpful, and I'll see you next time.